What if I told you that offering a stranger a place to sleep during a rainstorm could completely change your life? Not in some inspirational, feel-good way, but in a way that involves armed bodyguards, luxury cars, and a family fortune you never knew existed? This is exactly what happened to Marcus Chen, a 32-year-old software developer living in Seattle. One night, he made a simple decision to help someone in distress. By morning, his entire world had flipped upside down. This story has everything: panic attacks, torrential rain, mistaken identities, and a twist so unexpected that Marcus himself still can't believe it actually happened. Stay with me, because what unfolds here is stranger than fiction. Let me paint you a picture of Marcus's life before that night. Marcus was your typical single guy in his early 30s. He worked remotely for a mid-sized tech company, lived in a modest one-bedroom apartment in Capitol Hill, and his idea of excitement was trying a new ramen place on the weekend. His social circle was small but solid: a few college friends, some coworkers he'd grab drinks with occasionally, and his gaming buddies he'd never actually met in person. He wasn't lonely, exactly, just existing, going through the motions. His last relationship had ended 2 years prior, and he'd settled into a comfortable routine of work, Netflix, and the occasional hiking trip. Now, enter Elena Rodriguez. Marcus had met Elena exactly 3 times before that fateful night. She was a friend of a friend, someone who showed up at group gatherings but never really talked much. She was quiet, well-dressed, always checking her phone like she was expecting important news. Marcus remembered thinking she seemed nice but distant, like she was always somewhere else mentally. They'd exchanged maybe 50 words total across those 3 meetings. The typical party small talk: "How do you know Sarah? What do you do? This dip is really good, right?" That's it. They were acquaintances in the loosest sense of the word. September 14th started like any other Thursday. Marcus had spent the day coding, attended 3 Zoom meetings, and was looking forward to a quiet evening. Around 8 p.m., Seattle's famous rain started coming down hard, and I mean hard. The kind of rain that sounds like someone's throwing handfuls of gravel at your windows. Marcus was settling in with leftover pad thai when his phone buzzed. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer. But something made him pick up. "Hello? Marcus? It's Elena. Elena Rodriguez. We met at Sarah's birthday? And that barbecue?" Her voice was shaking, barely audible over the sound of rain and traffic in the background. "Elena? Yeah, I remember. Are you okay? I don't know who else to call. I'm sorry. This is so weird. I shouldn't have. Hey, slow down. What's wrong? I'm having a panic attack. I think it's a panic attack. I can't breathe right, and everything feels wrong, and I'm on the street, and it's pouring, and my phone is about to die, and..." Marcus was already grabbing his jacket. "Where are you?" "I don't." "Pine Street? Near that vintage bookstore?" "I'm sorry, I know we barely know each other, but Sarah's out of town and my roommate isn't answering, and I saw your number in that old group chat and..." "Stay right there. I'm 10 minutes away. Stay on the line with me, okay?" What Marcus didn't know at that moment was that Elena hadn't called him by accident. She'd scrolled through her entire contact list twice, desperately looking for someone who felt safe, someone who wouldn't ask too many questions, someone who seemed kind. And Marcus, the quiet guy who always listened more than he talked at parties, had been that person. Marcus found Elena sitting on a covered bus bench, soaked through despite the minimal shelter. Her designer handbag was clutched to her chest like a life preserver, and she was taking those sharp, shallow breaths that anyone who's experienced a panic attack knows too well. He didn't bombard her with questions. He just sat down next to her, holding his umbrella over both of them. "Hey, I'm here. You're safe." They sat like that for a few minutes, Marcus breathing slowly and audibly, giving her something to match her breath to. It was something he'd learned when his sister went through anxiety issues in college. "Better?" he asked eventually. Elena nodded, still not quite meeting his eyes. "I'm so embarrassed." "Don't be. Panic attacks are brutal. Do you want to tell me what happened, or would you rather just get somewhere warm and dry?" "Dry sounds good." Marcus's apartment was a 12-minute walk. He gave Elena his jacket, kept the umbrella over her, and made simple small talk about nothing important. By the time they reached his building, some color had returned to her face. His apartment was exactly what you'd expect, clean but lived in, with gaming posters on the walls, an impressive monitor setup, and a bookshelf crammed with sci-fi paperbacks. "Make yourself at home," Marcus said, already heading to his closet. He pulled out sweatpants and an oversized university hoodie. These will be huge on you, but they're warm and dry. Bathroom's through there. I'll make tea. When Elena emerged 20 minutes later, showered and swimming in Marcus's clothes, she looked like a different person. Younger, vulnerable. Her wet hair was tied back, and without makeup, Marcus noticed she had freckles across her nose. "Thank you," she said quietly, accepting the mug of chamomile tea. "You didn't have to do all this." "Of course I did. You needed help." They talked for hours that night. Really talked. Elena opened up about the pressure of her job, the impossibility of her family's expectations, the way she felt like she was drowning in responsibilities she never asked for. Marcus listened, shared some of his own struggles with purpose and direction, and made her laugh with stories about his disastrous attempts at dating apps. Around midnight, Elena's phone finally died completely. "I should probably call a cab," she said, not moving from the comfortable spot she'd settled into on his couch. "In this weather, it's like a monsoon out there now. I'll take the couch, you take the bed. We'll figure everything out in the morning." Elena looked at him for a long moment. "Are you always this nice?" Marcus shrugged. "You'd do the same thing." "I really wouldn't," Elena said quietly. "Most people I know wouldn't." They said goodnight. Marcus grabbed a spare pillow and blanket, made himself surprisingly comfortable on his couch, and fell asleep to the sound of rain hammering against the windows. He had no idea what morning would bring. Marcus woke up to the sound of car doors closing, multiple car doors, heavy ones. He checked his phone, 7:23 a.m. He stumbled to the window and looked down at the street. 3 black SUVs were parked in front of his building. And these weren't regular SUVs. These were the kind with tinted windows so dark they looked like rolling shadows. As Marcus watched, several people in dark suits emerged, along with one older man in an immaculate gray suit who moved with the kind of authority that made everyone else look like background characters. "What the hell?" Marcus muttered. A knock at the door. Not a casual knock. An official knock. Marcus opened it to find 2 men in suits, both wearing earpieces, both standing with that particular alertness that screamed, "Security." "Marcus Chen?" one of them asked. Yes? "We're here for Miss Rodriguez. Is she here?" What? Who are you?" "Security for the Rodriguez family. Is Elena here?" Before Marcus could process this, Elena emerged from the bedroom, now dressed in her clothes from last night, which had apparently been dried somehow. Her entire demeanor had changed. The vulnerable woman from last night was gone, replaced by someone who looked like she could run a board meeting. "It's okay, Marcus," she said. "I should have explained last night, but..." The man in the gray suit appeared in the doorway. Up close, Marcus could see he was probably in his 60s, with silver hair and eyes that missed nothing. "Elena," the man said, his voice tight with relief and restrained anger. "Do you have any idea what you put us through? Your phone goes dark. You disappear for 12 hours. We have people searching half the city. I needed space, Father." "Father?" Marcus's brain was short-circuiting. "I'm sorry, what's happening?" Elena turned to him, and for the first time since waking up, she looked genuinely apologetic. "Marcus, this is my father, Roberto Rodriguez. My family. We own Rodriguez International Holdings." The name hit Marcus like cold water. Rodriguez International Holdings. Even someone as disconnected from business news as Marcus knew that name. They were one of the largest privately held companies in the Pacific Northwest. Real estate, tech investments, import divided by export, billions with a B. "You're..." Marcus couldn't finish the sentence. "The CEO's daughter," Elena finished. "I'm sorry I didn't tell you. That's exactly why I called you. Everyone else I know, they know. And I just wanted to be a normal person having a normal panic attack without it becoming a thing." Roberto Rodriguez was studying Marcus with unsettling intensity. "You're the young man who helped my daughter?" I guess. She called me. She was upset. I brought her here." "That's it." "That's it," Roberto repeated, his tone suggesting that it was decidedly not it. "You took in the daughter of one of Seattle's wealthiest families, asked nothing about who she was, expected nothing in return, and gave her your bed while you slept on the couch." When he put it like that, Marcus felt weird about it. "She needed help. It's not a big deal." "Mr. Chen," Roberto said, and there was something almost amused in his tone now, "I assure you, it is a very big deal." What happened next moved so fast that Marcus felt like he was watching his life on fast forward. Roberto insisted on coming inside to talk properly. The security team swept the apartment, actually swept it, like they were looking for bugs or threats, and then positioned themselves outside while Roberto, Elena, and Marcus sat in his small living room that suddenly felt incredibly cramped. "Mr. Chen," Roberto began, "my daughter struggles with anxiety. It's something we've been managing for years, but last night she had what we call an episode. She fled her security detail, turned off her phone, and disappeared into the city. We've been searching for her since 8 p.m. yesterday." Marcus looked at Elena, who was staring at her hands. "You have a security detail?" "Two," she said quietly. "I lost them on purpose. I was suffocating, Marcus. Every minute of every day, someone watching, someone reporting back, someone making sure I don't make a mistake that could hurt the company image. Last night I just broke. When she called you," Roberto continued, "our people traced the call, but by then your phone was off. We've spent the entire night investigating you, Mr. Chen." A chill ran down Marcus's spine. "Investigating me? Financial records? Employment history? Social media? Criminal background, which is spotless. By the way, education, references, medical history as far as we could access it legally." Roberto's expression was unreadable. "We needed to know who had our daughter. This was insane. This was absolutely insane." "And what did you find?" Marcus asked, his voice coming out calmer than he felt. "That you're exactly what you appear to be. A decent man living a quiet life. No debt beyond student loans being paid regularly. No criminal record. Good employment history. By all accounts from your colleagues and friends, you're reliable, kind, and introverted." Roberto leaned forward. "Do you know how rare that is, Mr. Chen? In my world, everyone wants something. Everyone has an angle. But you genuinely just helped my daughter because she needed help. That's what people should do," Marcus said. Roberto smiled for the first time. "Indeed, which is why I'm about to make you uncomfortable." Roberto Rodriguez didn't waste time. "My daughter needs someone she can trust. Someone outside the family business, outside the social circles we move in, outside the influence of wealth and expectation. Last night, you were that person. I'd like you to continue being that person." Marcus blinked. "I don't understand. I'm offering you a position. Call it a companion role. A friend, if you will, but one who's compensated for their time and discretion. You want to pay me to be Elena's friend?" Marcus couldn't keep the disbelief out of his voice. "Father, no," Elena interjected. "Marcus, you don't have to." "Let me finish," Roberto said calmly. "Mr. Chen, my daughter is 29 years old. She has a master's degree in business from Stanford. She sits on 3 boards. She's brilliant, capable, and being crushed under the weight of expectation. She has everything except what you gave her last night: normalcy, kindness without agenda, a safe place to just be human." He pulled out a leather portfolio and slid it across the coffee table. Marcus didn't open it. "Inside is a contract offer. The position is deliberately vague special consultant to the Rodriguez family. The compensation is $300,000 per year, plus benefits, plus a housing stipend. Your job would be simple. Be available when Elena needs someone to talk to. No strings attached. No expectations beyond basic friendship and discretion." Marcus felt like the room was tilting. $300,000 to be someone's friend? To be someone's lifeline, Roberto corrected. "I've watched my daughter become more isolated, more anxious, more lost every year. Last night, for the first time in months, she called me this morning sounding like herself again. That's worth far more than $300,000 to me." Marcus looked at Elena. "Did you know about this?" She shook her head. "I'm learning about it at the same time you are. And Marcus, seriously, you don't have to do anything. You've already done more than enough." "Actually," Roberto said, "regardless of your decision about the position, I'm not leaving here without expressing my gratitude properly." He gestured to one of his security team, who entered carrying a slim briefcase. Roberto opened it to reveal stacks of crisp bills. "This is $50,000 cash. Consider it a thank you for last night, non-negotiable." Marcus's mouth went dry. "I can't accept that." "You can and you will. You protected my daughter when she was vulnerable. You asked for nothing. You expected nothing. In my world, that's extraordinary, and extraordinary actions deserve extraordinary gratitude." Roberto's tone left no room for argument. The security guard placed the briefcase on the coffee table. "Now," Roberto continued, "about the position. I understand this is overwhelming. You don't have to decide now. Take the contract, read it, think about it. I've included contact information for our family attorney if you have questions. But know this, Mr. Chen, I'm offering you an opportunity to genuinely help someone while being compensated generously for your time. There's no catch, no hidden agenda, just a father trying to help his daughter. After Roberto and his entourage left with Elena promising to call Marcus later, Marcus sat alone in his apartment staring at a briefcase full of cash and a contract that could change his entire life. He called his best friend Dave. "Dude, you're pranking me," Dave said after Marcus explained the situation. "I swear I'm not. There's $50,000 in cash sitting on my coffee table right now. Holy shit. What are you going to do?" "I have no idea. This is insane, right? This doesn't happen to real people." "Marcus, let me break this down for you. You're currently making, what, 85,000 a year? You work 60-hour weeks sometimes. You have no social life, and a billionaire is offering you 300 grand to basically hang out with his daughter when she needs someone to talk to? It's not that simple. It literally is that simple. What's the downside? That you make a genuine friend and get paid well for your time? Oh no, what a tragedy." But it wasn't that simple, and Marcus knew it. He spent the rest of the day reading the contract approximately 12 times. It was surprisingly straightforward. Be available via phone and in person when reasonably possible. Maintain complete confidentiality about the Rodriguez family. Serve as a personal consultant for an undefined scope of social and emotional support. There were clauses about termination, about boundaries, about the professional nature of the arrangement. Everything was designed to protect both parties. Elena called him that evening. "I'm so sorry about my father," she said immediately. "He means well, but he can be overwhelming." "That's one word for it," Marcus said, unable to keep the smile out of his voice. "Listen, about the job offer. You don't want me to take it." "What?" "No, that's not—" Elena paused. "I want you to do what feels right for you." "But Marcus, I meant what I said last night. Talking to you, being in your apartment, just being normal for a few hours. I didn't realize how much I needed that, how much I've been missing that. Can I ask you something? Anything." "Why me?" "We barely knew each other." Elena was quiet for a moment. "Do you remember Sarah's birthday party? You were in the kitchen, and some guy was going on and on about crypto, trying to impress everyone. And you just quietly made sure everyone had drinks, cleaned up spills, helped Sarah when she dropped that cake. You never tried to be the center of attention. You just took care of things, took care of people." I remember thinking, that's someone who's genuinely kind. Marcus hadn't even remembered that. It was just what you did at parties. "When I was spiraling last night," Elena continued, "I needed someone kind, someone who wouldn't make it about them or make me feel worse. Your number was in that group chat, and I remembered that moment, and I just knew you'd help without making it weird. And I did make it weird by having your dad offer me a crazy amount of money." Elena laughed. "He made it weird. You made it better." Marcus took 3 days to decide. He consulted a lawyer, not the Rodriguez family attorney, his own, who confirmed the contract was legitimate and actually quite favorable to him. He talked to his sister, his parents, and Dave approximately 400 times. Everyone told him to take it, but the decision ultimately came down to something simpler. When he thought about Elena sitting on that bus bench in the rain, scared and alone, he knew he'd do it again in a heartbeat. Money or no money, contract or no contract. And maybe that was exactly why he should take the job. Because he wasn't doing it for the money just made it possible to do it more. He called the number Roberto had provided. The transformation started immediately. The Rodriguez family moved Marcus into a luxury apartment in a building they owned 2 bedrooms. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Elliott Bay, concierge service, the works. They set up an investment account with the housing stipend that was more than his previous annual salary. His official title was Special Consultant to Rodriguez International Holdings. But the actual job was exactly what Roberto had described, being Elena's friend. They started meeting for coffee twice a week. Then it became lunch. Then occasional dinners. Marcus realized that Elena was genuinely funny, whip-smart, and deeply lonely. She knew everything about running a business empire and nothing about living a normal life. He introduced her to his favorite ramen place. She introduced him to private gallery openings. He taught her to play video games. She taught him about wine. He showed her how to use the public library. She showed him how to navigate high society without looking terrified. It was a bizarre friendship, but it worked. 3 months into his new position, Marcus was invited to a Rodriguez family dinner. He expected something formal and stuffy. Instead, he found Elena's family gathering in a surprisingly cozy dining room in their estate, with Elena's mother, Rosa, cooking traditional Spanish dishes, and her younger brother, Carlos, arguing about soccer with his father. "Marcus," Rosa embraced him like he was family. "Elena talks about you constantly. Thank you for making my daughter smile again." Over dinner, Marcus learned the full story. Elena had been engaged 2 years ago to someone from another wealthy family. Someone appropriate, someone who checked all the boxes on paper. The relationship had been suffocating, controlling, designed more for business merger than actual love. When Elena finally broke it off 6 months before the wedding, she'd had her first serious panic attack. The anxiety had gotten worse over time. The pressure to date someone suitable, to maintain the family image, to be perfect all the time. She'd become a prisoner of her own life. "When you answered that phone call," Rosa said, holding Marcus's hand across the table, "you gave her permission to be human again, to ask for help, to trust someone." Roberto raised his glass. To Marcus, who reminded us that kindness is the most valuable currency. That night, driving home in his new car, a gift from the family he tried to refuse but ultimately accepted, Marcus realized something profound. He'd thought the story was about him helping Elena, but really, she'd helped him just as much. She'd shown him that he'd been sleepwalking through his own life, playing it safe, never taking risks. Now he was living in a luxury apartment, had financial security for the first time in his life, and had gained not just a friend but an entire family who valued him for exactly who he was. A year later, Marcus threw a party in his apartment. It was a weird mix of people. His old tech friends mixing with Elena's business associates, his family chatting with the Rodriguez family, Dave trying not to fanboy over meeting actual billionaires. Elena pulled him aside at one point, looking at the crowd. "You know what I realized?" she said. "What's that?" "That night when I called you, I thought I was at my lowest point. Everything felt impossible. I felt so alone." She smiled. "But I wasn't alone. I just had to be brave enough to ask for help. And you had to be kind enough to answer. I'm glad I picked up the phone." "Me too." Elena clinked her glass against his. To random acts of kindness that change everything. Marcus looked around his apartment, so different from that night a year ago, yet fundamentally the same. He was still him. Still the quiet guy who preferred listening to talking, who cared more about people than status, who believed in helping when you could. The only difference was that now, he was doing it in a better apartment. And maybe, just maybe, he'd learned that being kind wasn't just about helping others. It was about allowing yourself to be helped too. About accepting that good things could happen without hidden costs. About trusting that sometimes people genuinely just wanted to say thank you. So what's the moral of this story? It's not about expecting rewards for kindness. Marcus didn't help Elena thinking anything would come of it. He helped because someone needed help, and he was able to help. That's it. But here's the thing about genuine kindness. It creates ripples. It builds connections. It opens doors you didn't even know existed. Marcus could have ignored that phone call. He could have told Elena to call a cab. He could have been suspicious or uncomfortable with the situation. Instead, he chose kindness. And that single choice changed both of their lives. The Rodriguez family didn't owe Marcus anything, but they chose gratitude. They chose to recognize and reward genuine goodness in a world that often overlooks it. Not every act of kindness will result in a life-changing opportunity. That's not the point. The point is that kindness matters. Connection matters. Being willing to show up for people, even when it's inconvenient, even when you're scared, even when you barely know them, that matters. Marcus still works as a consultant for the Rodriguez family. He and Elena are genuinely close friends. He's met someone special through Elena, naturally, and his life is richer in every sense of the word. But if you asked him about that rainy night, he'd tell you the same thing he told Roberto. She needed help. That's what people should do. And maybe, in a world that often feels cold and transactional, that simple truth is the most radical thing of all. Be kind, answer the phone, help when you can. You never know what might happen. But even if nothing happens, even if there's no reward, no recognition, no billionaire family waiting to change your life, you'll have done something that matters. And that's worth everything. Thanks for watching. If this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible real-life stories. What would you have done in Marcus's situation? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, kindness costs nothing, but it's worth everything. See you in the next one.